Hey, this is Mr. Drogemeyer. Thanks for joining me for our Algebra 1 lesson videos. Today we're looking at Unit 4, Lessons 20 and 21, finding the rate of change from a graph. So last few lessons we've been talking about rate of change. Up here at the top I have slope. Slope is a rate of change. And so we're going to be looking for that slope or that rate of change, how we can find it on a graph. And so a couple of variations on the formulas that we've seen in those last few lessons. Um, so this one, that triangle, that's the Greek letter delta, and it's often used to represent change. So we're saying delta y over delta x, that means change in y over change in x. And we find that change in y by subtracting two different y values. We find the change in x by subtracting two different x values. And so we really were doing the same thing in the last lesson. We were calling it f of a and f of b for functions a and b. Same concept, just different letters, different terminology that we're using there. But so let's look at how we can take a graph and we can estimate a rate of change here. So we have a graph that's showing a curve. And so we want to use that graph to estimate the rate of change of the function at x equals 1.3. So when x is 1.3, which would probably be around in here, we're wanting to know what would that slope be of the curve right there, of that line right there at that point. We're going to use these 2 points that they give us that are on that curve to estimate it. So when 1 is at negative 0.5, when x is 1.5, here we're saying that y is 1. We're going to use those 2 points as a guide to estimate what that slope is when x is equal to 1.3. So I'm going to use that formula. So we have that y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to be taking the y value from each point and the x value from each point that they gave us to use for our estimate. And you can go in either order. I could make this one the first one and this one the second one, or I could flip that. I just need to make sure that I'm calling the x value from this one the same thing that I'm calling the y value from it. So let's say if I use 1 to represent 1, 2 to represent 2 here. So y2, that's going to be the y value from that second point, which is 1. So remember, in your ordered pair, x is first and then the y. And then the y value from the first one is negative 0.5. And so I'm subtracting negative 0.5. Then for the denominator here, x2, that's 1.5 is the x value from that point, minus the y value, or excuse me, minus the x value from that, which is 1. All right, so we need to do that subtraction. 1 minus negative 0.5, remember subtracting a negative is the same as adding a positive, so I can think of that as x, or as 1 plus 0.5. And so that would be 1.5 in my numerator. And then my denominator, 1.5 minus 1, that would be 0.5 or 0.5. And now I can simplify or do that division. 1.5 divided by 1/2 is 3. And so we would estimate that our slope, and we use m as the variable that represents slope, we would estimate that the slope, and I really should use my approximate, which is what the squiggly equal sign means. We would say the slope is about 3 when x is 1.3. So we would say right in there, that slope is about 3. All right, let's take a look at another example then. This one says we want to use the graph to estimate the rate of change when x equals 0.75. So that's going to be right around in here. And we're going to use these 2 points. 0.51, and 1, 2.5. And this time we'll call this one 2 this time and this one 1. Like I said, it doesn't matter as long as you are consistent in pulling the same x and y value from that point. All right, and so we said our slope, m, is going to be equal to y2, which is 1 from this first point, minus the y value from the second point, which is 2.5. Denominator, we're going to take the x value from 2, which is 0.5, and we're going to subtract the x value from 1, which is 1. All right, now we need to do our subtractions. 1 minus 2.5 would be negative 1.5. 0.5 minus 1, that would be a negative 0.5. And so again, we have negative 1.5 divided by negative 0.5. So negative divided by negative, same signs, that's going to be positive. 1.5 divided by 0.5 is 3. So again, we would estimate for this one that our slope at that x equals 0.75, again, is about 3 in this case. So, so that's how you can take 2 points that are on a graph and you can estimate the slope of the line or the curve that is between those 2 points. All right, that's all I got for you today. Thanks for watching. If you have any questions, please let me know. Thanks. Have a great day.